Hi guys, so welcome back to another awesome episode of Two Wacky Pundits, Dr. D and Dr. A.
Howdy.
So, we're gonna start again with another book review. What do we have this time?
Today we have a bombshell of a book for you.
Yeah?
The book is called Justine, or The Misfortunes of Virtue, by the Marquis de Sade.
Oh, okay, Marquis de Sade, we all...
This is actually a compendium. It has as well the Philosophy in the Bedroom in it, which is another book worth reading. But anyway, it has the... I read it on Kindle.
Okay, so for those among us who have no idea who Marquis de Sade is, can you give them some background for the viewers?
Marquis de Sade was a nobleman living in the French Revolution. He was imprisoned at some point. He made a lot of enemies. He was very enraged. He was an enraged individual. And I think he wrote Philosophy in the Bedroom and Justine while he was imprisoned.
Okay.
So he had that extra impetus to put all his... to distill his rage.
Hardcore, literally hardcore. Let's put it this way.
I have selected some excerpts which I will just ready on my mobile for you guys, because these are not to be missed. In essence, Justine, the story of Justine, is a story of these two twins, Justine and Juliet, who are born of noble family, and at some point during their teens, this family ends up on hard times.
Yeah.
Their father and mother, their mother dies, I think, and their father is carted off to prison for debts, and they are cast away. Juliet, who is far more sensible, becomes a prostitute and earns her living that way. But Justine is so kind-hearted. She is so just and honorable, and has such a heart of gold that she never gives in to these sort of malicious impulses. And the world around her mistreats her to such an extent because of her heart of gold, that it's just disgusting reading this book. This book is a complete disaster when it comes to morality. It's so immoral.
Yeah, but example,
so despicable.
Because now we have to hear it.
It's immoral, despicable. She's passed on as a sex toy from one person to another. Every one of them commits even greater molestations on her body.
Okay.
Every orifice is taken advantage of. And in what way? And it might be called a pornographic philosophy. This book is about pornographic philosophy.
Don't forget that Marquis de Sade, he is like, you can call him like the first or the ultimate pornographer, you could say.
The ultimate pornographer, yes, of course.
Well, and first and ultimate, because I think nobody has gone up to that level anyway. Well, or down to that level.
I can't imagine why women these days wax so lyrical about these books that are coming out. If they were to read the Marquis de Sade, they would be far more impressed.
Yeah, because people right now are still like
20 Shades of Grey, or what is the name of the book? 50 Shades of Grey. Of Grey.
Yeah.
That book is nothing.
I'm sure of it.
Compared.
I mean, I have not read anything of Marquis de Sade, but I know he is very notorious in this. But you have some lines that you can read?
Of course.
Okay.
This is the criminal talking to Justine. This virtue that you make such a fuss about is of no use in the world. There is no point in kneeling before its altars, because its vain incense will not feed you. That which flatters men least, that which they consider to be of least importance, that which they despise the most intensely, is the virtue of your sex, of the female sex. In this world, my child, men value only those things that earn money or bring pleasure. What can we profit from the virtue of women? It is their waywardness that serves and entertains us, but their chastity could be of less interest to us. When people like us give, in other words, it is only ever to receive. Now how can a little girl like you repay what is done for her, except by allowing others to use her body as they wish? It's incredible.
Okay.
distilling his hatred onto her, telling her that her purpose in life, her
like
sole
shaming.
sole purpose in life is to serve men.
No.
Evildoers do not like to meet resistance in this. They seek to seduce. There is unfortunately no middle ground once one is unfortunate enough to have become the object of their attentions. From that point on, one is obliged to become their accomplice, which is dangerous, or their enemy, which is more dangerous still.
Okay.
This is all good philosophy. This is all philosophy which is worth more today probably than it was at the time.
Well.
The fate of others must never count for anything when our well-being is at stake. Oh, Therese, because in the book her name, her nom de guerre is Therese instead of Justine. The hard hearts of the rich justify the bad conducts of the poor. If their purses opened to serve our needs, if humanity reigned in their hearts, then virtue would flourish in ours. And this is particularly on point. How I love to hear the rich and titled, the magistrates and the priests. How I love to watch them preach virtue to us. It is very hard to keep oneself from stealing when one has 3 times more than one needs to live. A great strain to never think of murder when one is surrounded by sycophants and slaves from whom your will is law. Truly difficult to be temperate and sober when one is at all times surrounded by the most succulent dishes. So difficult for them to be sincere when they have no reason to lie. But as for us, Therese, whom barbarous providence, which you are mad enough to idolize, has condemned to the humiliation of crawling along like a snake in the grass, we who are looked upon with disdain because we are poor, who are treated like slaves because we are weak, we whose lips are moistened only with gall and those feet tread upon nothing but thorns, you want us to abstain from crime when its hand alone can open the door to life, can maintain and preserve us in it, and prevent us from losing it. By the way, that's one of the longest sentences I've ever had to read. You want us to remain perpetually submissive and degraded, while the class that dominates us enjoys all fortune's favors, and our lot is nothing but hardship, despondency and pain, only want, tears, and branding of the criminal and the scaffold.
Okay, well that is, yeah.
It is misogynistic, mostly. There is a certain hatred of women in this book.
Misogynistic, classist as well.
Classist, misogynistic.
Like the poor, so basically have to be subservient to the rich.
At one point, Justine becomes the plating of a Benedictine convent. And these priests are the most depraved that she ever saw in her life. They keep a harem, a seraglio.
Well, we also know that Marquis de Sade was not a big fan of the Catholic Church either.
No, he hated the Catholic Church.
He was excommunicated and all the rest. And also, I think he died because they put him because of Satanism charges and stuff like that. No,
I'm not so sure about his death. I can't talk about that.
Or at least part of his time in prison was because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Anything else? Got another interesting...
Well, we have a lot more, but I have to select which ones to, because I don't want to bore our audience. Now there is no more vivid sensation than pain. Its impressions are sure, they do not deceive like those of pleasure that women constantly feign, and which they practically never feel. Moreover, how much self-esteem must one need, how much youth, strength and health, to be certain of producing in a woman that dubious and unsatisfactory impression of pleasure. He's talking about orgasm here.
Okay.
That it's fake, and it's much easier to give a woman pain than to bring her to orgasm.
But Marquis de Sade was a sadist as well.
Sadist, that's where sadism comes from.
Exactly.
The impression of
he
pain,
created the word.
The impression of pain, on the contrary, does not require the least little thing. The more faults a man has, the older he is, the less lovable he is, the better he will succeed. The doctrine of loving one's neighbor is a fantasy that we owe to Christianity and not to nature. And there are more, plenty more. I would suggest you just read the book and get it over with.
Okay.
This book needs to be read and forgotten, because it's important, but it's disgusting.
Okay.
if you are
Coming
shaky,
from you, then it has to be.
if you are shaky in your moral beliefs, I would not recommend you read this book, because you will end up fucked in the head.
What way? How do?
You will end up.
Explain
You will end up doing. You will end up espousing the same vices.
Ah, you mean you might take up the
You might take up that sort of philosophy for yourself.
Okay.
If you are not firm in your beliefs.
Well, unless maybe you have it already.
Or you have it already.
The cascade is game over. Okay, but definitely an interesting read. As all the others.
Hard read, man. A hard read.
Okay.
Hard read.
Did he make any other books apart from this? And Philosophy in the Bedroom?
This is
So
volume
there's a
1.
whole.
There's volume 2, The Philosophy in the Bedroom, and then there are other books which I haven't.
Okay. So we'll try and find the links as usual.
Yes. They are all on Kindle. Hey, he also wrote the 120 Days of Sodom, which was turned into a movie by Pier Paolo Pasolini.
Yes, and that was really bad.
That
was really bad.
That had coprophagy in it, which is the enjoyment of eating of feces.
I mean, if you end up doing that stuff, then
and it had a lot of
you really hit rock bottom.
Mutilations, and you know, at one point when eyes are gouged out.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I mean, that is bad, man.
It's all part of sadism. Extreme versions, of course, but I was wondering that. They did actually make a movie on this book. We were talking about it in the
starring
early 70s. I forgot the Italian title, but it's definitely Justine. I think it's
The Misfortunes of Virtue.
Then they use that same title. Yes, with Romina Power.
Power
of Albano and Romina.
The ex-wife of Albano.
So yeah, she was still young. I mean, 18,
of course,
19
very
in those days.
very nubile.
And they needed someone like that to fit the role. So I was surprised that she was in such a movie, to be honest. But all right. Okay, guys. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments, as usual, good, bad,
Thank you
whatever,
for bearing with us today.
please let us know. As usual, down here we'll put in some links.
And may your God be with you.
Indeed. See you next time.